guys? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Kobold Press Creature Codex Pawns. So if you're unfamiliar, what pawns are, is these are basically thick cardboard cutouts with the image of the monster on them that you need to actually purchase a separate base to be able to use them. I'm going to be doing the Creature Codex Pawns because someone requested this on Facebook, and I will give a shout out to Paul Wright on Facebook, who had specifically asked about the pawns. So Paul, this video is for you, but for anybody else who's curious. Also, this will function for any Pathfinder pawns, basically, or the Tome of Beast pawns. If you guys are curious about what they look like, I'm going to go through those. So this is still sealed in the plastic. We're going to cut it open and take a look. I will show you that on the back, it has the list of all of the pawns. And unlike with minis and spell cards and things of that nature, some of the smaller ones do have multiple copies. So for most of your large creatures, you're just going to have one. But for a lot of these littler creatures, like cultists and NPCs and things like that, right? Like Serpent Folk of Yig, Void Cultists, Vampire Thralls, etc., you will have two. So that will help. So let's go ahead and cut these open, and then we will go into the close cam. Actually, we might be able to just go into the close cam here while we do this. So we're going to peel our plastic off here. Okay, there we go. Starting to get it to come off. Well wrapped in plastic here, taking its sweet time to come off. Can't get a good grip on it. There we go. So there goes the plastic. And you can see that this is actually just a cover, right? So you can actually slide this whole piece off. And then again, here's that list of all of the creatures. But we can get rid of that, and then you guys can take a look now at what these pawns are. So you can see they're all cardstock, and you can just pop them out. And then here you go. So this is an Infernal Knight. So it's double-sided. It's the same on the front and the back, and it is relatively thick cardstock. I don't think I have a tape measure here, but my guess is, just eyeballing it, that's about a 1/16 of an inch. You know what? Let's go get a tape measure. All right, so we're back. We're gonna take our tape measure here. Let's see if I can get you guys to see this. If this will come into focus here. But as you can see, maybe get this to come into focus. But confirmed 1/16 of an inch. So this is a 1/16 of an inch thick piece of cardboard. And you can see that you've got basically multiple sheets. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It looks about like 12 or 15 or so of these. But as you can see, they're nice and easy. And for those of you who travel or don't have a ton of space to store, you know, minis like this, which, you know, you could see that in and of itself, this one mini in its 3D form is going to take up a ton more space than several of these pawns. So I prefer minis just because I like to collect them. But if you're looking for practical things and you don't want to deal with, you know, whatever random stuff you have around the house, Monopoly pieces, pennies, Skittles, whatever you use for your player bases, and believe me, I've used all of the above over time. I should go through and do a what my characters used to be back when I first started playing. I think my druid's giant crocodile companion was a piece of like neon multicolored string tied in knots that was about this long, and that was the giant crocodile companion he had. But basically, as you can see, you've got these small pawns here. I guess these were technically medium or small size pawns of all of these. And you can see again, take a look right here, like here's a Grindilo, for instance. You've got 2. So that's a nice benefit again over something. And here's your Serpentine Lamia here as well. Lamia, I don't know how you technically pronounce it, but you get the point. Basically, this works out well for you guys in, you know, if you're going to be running an encounter where you have multiples. So theoretically, if you bought 2 sets of the pawns, you'd already have 4 of these creatures. So if you're going to run an encounter based on a specific type of creature, that's actually not a bad idea. But let's keep going. So we're still on this small medium size. And when I say that, I mean based on the base, they'd be using a 5x5 base on a grid, because really that's all you're going to be using. There's look at that beautiful creature right there. That's Swole Bald. What a great monster. Whoever came up with that is a genius. And then here you can see we're at large size now. Right, Child of Yggdrasil. What's this? Oh, I can't even pronounce that one. So Arborsight. So these you can see comparatively. Actually, here are some small ones, so you can see comparatively, right? So here's a medium, here's a small, and here's a large. So here's your large size. So this would be a 10 by 10 base. Here's your medium comparatively. So that's a 5 by 5 base. And here's your small. Still the same base size, but they made it significantly smaller, so there's no qualms about what size the creature is when you're looking at them on the map. So, and again, it doesn't work exactly right, but you can basically pop these guys right back in to the cardboard, and now you have them. Again, great for travel if you're a traveling dungeon master and you need to keep a bunch of minis in a relatively small space. I know a lot of people like these or things similar. So we'll keep going, right? We're still at large size creatures. A whole bunch more large creatures. Let's see if we can't get these more in frame here. Large, large. Now we've reached the point where we're at adult dragon size, and we have huge size creatures. So these would be 3 by 3 on your base, right? You can see comparatively. Right, here's a medium creature. We'll pop out this guy and show you in comparison. You know, there you go. And I don't think we go any bigger than that, but we'll keep going and we'll see. Again, still huge size creatures. Huge. Yeah. So the biggest we get is huge size creatures. So, I didn't really have anything crazy planned for this video, guys. But I did just want to give you a quick highlight about what pawns are and how these work. Let's grab this piece of paper here. Does it give us a retail price? Oops, I took the camera away, then you can't actually see it. $34.99. So, let me know what you guys think. So, if you want to think about this comparatively, a blind box of minis that might get you something like this, but it might get you something else, something you don't necessarily want or need. At least WizKids minis, right? So this will cover Pathfinder and Wizards of the Coast. I'll give you one larger sized mini. Doesn't necessarily have to be this size, right? It could be massive, like this elephant. It could be smaller here, like this beholder. I'll give you one of those and 3 smaller, like medium-sized minis. And that'll run you, depending on how savvy you shop and how discounts and things, that could run you anywhere from $12 to $20. I say the sweet spot's probably right around $13 to $15, but I've seen them go less. I've seen people pay more. That's regional, that's supply and demand, and the markup that any game store may put on them. So this is $34.99. It's not, usually when you get those box minis, it's a sticker on them that the game store put on, so you pay what the game store will charge you. This is printed right on it, and it'll be what you have, so you'll know what it should be, and you can buy these online, and you get all of these. So comparatively, again, for about $15, you'll get 4 minis, and you don't know what you're gonna get. For $35, you're gonna get 300 theoretical minis at a price you do know. The only cost that is an unknown, not really an unknown, but is out there, is the bases. So you pop out one of these guys, right? You can't put this on your table because this is just going to fall over, right? So if you've ever played a board game, you may have these things already, but if you've played like a board game like Parcheesi or some other type of board game where you've had similar cardboard cutouts, and there's a ton of these, right? A ton of different board games have these, from, you know, the more old school board games you played when you were younger to the more advanced board games that you play now, that, you know, cost upwards and take hours and have strategy involved, versus things you might have played when you were a kid, right? Chutes and Ladders or whatever. You can take those bases and stick them on here. You can actually, if you have a 3D printer, you can print those bases relatively easily. There's not a ton of crazy slicing involved and work to just download those off of Thingiverse or other places. You can also purchase those in bulk, and you can buy them in the different sizes of the small, medium, large, and huge size. I actually have some, so maybe I'll go grab some and I'll just show you what they look like before we close this video out. Alright, so real quick, when I say these bases from board games, this is what I'm talking about. This happens to be a Pathfinder. I don't know if you can make that out, but that's a Pathfinder base. But here's our huge creature, and we just kind of slot it in, and there's our mini. We'll jump in here with the close cam real quick. So you can see, here's our mini. It's flat on our little base. Actually, this base is a little warped, but you get the point. There's our phoenix there, right? And here's a large size creature. If I flip back, or here's, better yet, here's a medium, right? So we'll grab a medium creature. And these are the ones you'll likely have in your board games, right? You just stick this in here, and there you go. So that's the only thing there is. You get $35, you get 300 minis, you know what you're getting, but you still have to go out and purchase the bases separately. Again, if you're a 3D printer and you happen to have one, there's not a whole lot of filament going into these, and you can print a whole bunch of them on your base all at once. But again, I think Reaper Minis and other companies do sell these bases. If you look around online, you can probably find them pretty cheap, maybe even on Amazon, or get a bulk lot on eBay. But I just wanted to give you guys a video on what the pawns are, what to expect, and before you go out and purchase them yourself to see if they're worth it. Also, I know with the Tome of Beast ones, they did seem to be in and out of availability quite often. I believe the Creature Codex Pawns are still available, but they come and go. So if you guys want them, I'd probably jump on it sooner rather than later. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.